Ladies and gentlemen, the Fubara executive sweep. Wow, welcome back. So, a dissolved cabinet, a second peace deal, and a governor who just cleared the board. Rivers State is in a total reset. The political war in Rivers State has taken a shaking turn tonight as Governor Siminalayi Fubara officially dissolved the State Executive Council. This total wipeout of his cabinet comes just days after President Tinubu's second and alleged final peace intervention in Abuja. Minister Nyesom Wike confirmed the meeting, stating that Tinubu will not intervene a third time. While Fubara has asked commissioners to hand over to permanent secretaries, the big question remains, is this a tactical move to flush out Wike's loyalists, or is it a sign that the peace deal has already collapsed? You've seen peace agreements in Rivers for 35 years, I'm sure, sir. Does a dissolved cabinet lead to a fresh start, or are we just witnessing the calm before the impeachment storm? So we're going to get into this, ladies and gentlemen. Not yet, sir. Let's do our proper intro. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you are notified when we go live. We've kind of been away for maybe a week or two, so bear with us. We really need you to help us hit the like button to help us ginger the algorithms. But we have some trendy stories around the world for you today. And we'll love to have you in this discussion. So again, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, High Chief Oladimeji Abitogun. Let me ask you that question again, just in case you missed it, right? So again, we've seen peace agreements in Rivers. You have seen peace agreements probably for the last 35 years in Rivers State. So does this mean a fresh start for Rivers State? What does it mean exactly from give us your analysis on this, because I'm curious too.
Thank you very much, Ola. It's good to be back. And regards to all our viewers out there, good evening. In some places, good afternoon. And in other climes, good morning. Now, you're saying I have seen several of these kind of situations maybe for the past 35 years in Rivers State. Not quite true.
Maybe more so around Nigeria.
Yeah, it's all over Nigeria, yes. I mean, there have always been marriages between political strange bedfellows in Nigeria, and you always have the unraveling of such relationships, because some of those political forays could be misguided, or maybe too horribly put together. But in this case, like you rightly observed, the situation in Rivers State is quite unique. Let me say, this kind of peace deal, which is almost like the third time within the last 365 days, probably 1 year, is unprecedented. Nobody has ever had this kind of situation in which an ex-governor continues to want to play the role of a puppeteer who would not, I mean, under the guise of surrogacy, or what some people have tagged godfatherism, continues to want to pull the string, and although not paying anything anymore, but he still wants to continue to pretend to be he who pays the piper, and so wants to continue to dictate the tune. And do not forget what the poet once captured as the child being the father of the man. So similarly, Fubara, the governor of River State, thinking he has now become a full-grown man, somebody who is already given all the reins as the executive governor of the state, wants to be in charge. But curiously, everybody would think that what has applied in the case of the goods should have also played out concerning this gander, but not so. For some reason, you find one of the two most dangerous political operators, one of the two most ruthless political individuals in Nigeria. In this case, former governor of River State, Nyesom Wike, continuing to assert himself, hedged on, encouraged, and given all the political protection from the highest levels in Nigeria. What that is supposed to achieve, nobody knows. But it's so obvious that, as it is, opposition politics in Nigeria seems to have paled into insignificance because of the tactics being employed by those who continue to encourage Nyesom Wike in the game. Because openly, this is somebody that has led a kind of coup, whether political or whatever anybody want to call it. He's been able to undermine and effectively ambush the sitting governor of River State, in this case, Mr. Siminalayi Fubara. So if you are now asking me, is this like...
Chief, your camera is on. If you want to look at us in the camera, okay? Yeah. All right, good.
Thank
Yeah.
you. So if you now say that, oh, could this, be maybe a prelude to what could ultimately become the firestorm of impeachment? Let me tell you, that impeachment is never going to happen anymore. I predicted that here a few weeks back. That is why the timely intervention by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who himself is suspected to be the one, the hand of Esau and the voice of Jacob, that is really playing former governor Nyesom Wike, now the FCT minister, the Federal Capital Territory. I need to decode that. For the abbreviation FCT, for those who are not familiar what that term means in Nigeria, the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. He is suspected to be the one that finds it so convenient to continue to engage Nyesom Wike as a kind of useful idiot or village idiot for the entire federation, so that the dream, the goal of clinching a second term of the presidency will become so easy. But everybody that saw the figure that came out during the last presidential election from River State would also want to question the relevance and the audacity of engaging somebody like Nyesom Wike to openly display kind of brigandage and ruthless, what's it called? Ruthless rigging of the process. So, for a state with all the braggadocio that was on display during the 2023 presidential elections, all that could come from that state was maybe around 200,000 votes, whatever. People have always looked at River State as a place where votes totaling over 2 million could mass for whoever really wants to become the president of Nigeria. Ranking alongside places like Lagos State, Kano, and the KKK states up north in Nigeria. But in the last election, that did not really play out. So to now want to tie the fortune of Bola Ahmed Tinubu to that of Jason Wike is something anybody cannot easily explain. So, to put it briefly, the fact that the cabinet has been dissolved in a River State today does not really mean that, ultimately this is the battle that would, yes, it would look like, similarly, Fubara is always encouraged to give and give and give and give. So when is somebody going to release the other end of the rope in this tug of a war? Somebody cannot really coerce them if they do not have the conscience to understand that a governor should not be humiliated the way Fubara has been treated repeatedly in the last few days, or in the last few months. He cannot really help them. But the truth of the matter is that all this kind of shenanigans and bricksmanship continues to put the Nigerian democracy at some risk. It's so sad. It's so sad such that you begin to look at the interests of citizens of Nigeria in this all-important project that is participatory governance. The interest of the average Nigerian citizen is waning. It's almost like, whatever we do, they know themselves. They have a close circle. They do not allow anybody to come in, and they are not even impacting on the system. So woe betide them, like Jesus will put it in the woes and the beatitudes against a class of individuals that we cannot repeat on this program tonight. But what we're saying is that to continue to operate with this level of conceit and outright conspiracy against the citizens and the system, rigging it as things were tonight, is really unfortunate. But let nobody begin to feel that, this is some victory lap. This is some scores against Governor Simlaye Fubara. Ab initio, they know what the deal was between all of them. Some of these things we would never be privy to because they are oaths of secrecy and what governance has become in Nigeria, which is a kind of cult of power, which is almost the situation all over the world anyway. Some things they will keep to themselves and they rather die with such secrets without letting the generality of Nigerian voting populace. They won't allow them to know what the undercurrents, the real squabbles behind all these stormy situations. They will never make a full disclosure of that. So why do we bother ourselves, bother our heads about that? What we know is that this is a major term in the references drawn for the peace that they were expecting to now reign in Rivers State. They have said, represent your list of commissioner nominees and other government functionaries. Present them before the State House of Assembly. Let there be a scrutiny. Let there be a proper vetting. Let there be an approval. And then things can move from there. And then I think they would at some point also expect him in this new year to make a presentation of the budgetary appropriation before the assembly. Part of the deals they have drawn for the warring factions in Rivers State. I think the other one may be the fact that they just want Governor Fubara to throw up and accept the fact that Nyesom Wike is benefactor so far, is his leader, the undisputed leader, political leader in Rivers State. So this may be the issues behind what we have just witnessed.
Wow. Politics continue to be a dangerous game, particularly in Nigeria. So
yes, and as you heard me the other time, I said Nyesom Wike is one of the two deadliest, one of the two most ruthless political operatives in Nigeria. The other one the other individual that is as deadly and brutal in the politics is the diminutive former FCT minister. You see, all of them always come to the FCT seat. Former FCT minister, Nasir, or Nasir El-Rufai, like
El-Rufai.
he loves to call himself Nasir.
He was former governor before. Was former governor, right?
Former governor of the Kaduna State.
Kaduna State, okay.
He came out. Obasanjo once testified about him in his book On My Watch, that he is a pathological liar, and some of us have always closely watched him. And he has the language. No matter how bad, how ugly a situation is, you are linking into a scandal. He's telling you, "I don't care." The same attitude is displayed while mulling down houses, some of which belong to his uncle that raised him at a point. And then now his attention has been drawn to the fact that a journalist disappeared while he was the governor of Kaduna State. He said he didn't care that could be traced to another person. But the final shot on the foot from El-Rufai against himself happens to be this open confession last Friday on Arise TV, where he said they have been wiretapping the conversations of the National Security Advisor to the President of Nigeria. That the government does it against citizens or he and his courts who have now been arraigned or who have now been indicted.
Isn't that borderline treasonable?
It is treasonous, not just treasonous. It almost borders on espionage. And for people who would listen to your conversation without authorization, will record you and then traffic in all those.
That's already a crime too.
He was even told, "Do you know this constitutes a crime?" He said he knew. He confessed to it, but we are not going to preempt wherever the investigations will lead, as they continue to grill him for DSS and the EFCC. There was a major drama around that.
All right. I would like to bring up El-Rufai again in the special. Let's move on to some other trade story. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I'll remind you. Don't worry. I'll remind you.
The point being made here is that that is El-Rufai and Yesu Wike, are the two living most brutal and ruthless politicians in Nigeria.
Wow.
Yeah, one traffics in lies, the other one traffics in unbridled recklessness and outright abuse of office and knowing no band. So these are two people that are so interesting to watch, whether Nigeria democracy survives or if it's going to be total. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified whenever we go live. We'll be right back with some other trendy stories around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Trump's 400 million naira gilded ballroom scandal. Well, there's I think this is the second.
You said 400 million naira or 400 million dollars.
My bad. 400 million dollars.
Yeah, it's $400 million.
So we talked about this the last time, but apparently it's still in the news. The East Wing is in ruins, and the $400 million Trump ballroom is officially caught in a legal war. President Trump is facing a massive legal showdown over the very ground he stands on. New renderings released this week show the most detailed vision yet for the $400 million White House ballroom, a project Trump claims will be the finest in the world. However, the National Trust for Historic Preservation has filed a federal lawsuit to halt construction, arguing that the president illegally demolished the East Wing without congressional review, while Trump insists the project is on budget and ahead of schedule. The National Capital Planning Commission abruptly removed the plans from their website on Friday following a public outcry. Chief, are you ready? So we've seen Trump raid Venezuela and threaten Greenland, and now he's literally tearing down the White House to put his stamp on it.
Yeah, even landed.
Can we just call this? He said what?
He has also landed American troops in Nigeria.
And I heard that too. But let's focus on the ball quickly, and then you can go into that. Is this beautification? Yeah, okay, I mean that's what he calls it, right? Is this beautification?
No.
Abi, this is a dynasty being destroyed right in front of our eyes at the expense of taxpayers' expense. I said expense twice.
Well,
what are we looking at?
Yes, I've always drawn the attention of our viewers and our own attention to the legendary works, the everlasting works of one of Yoruba's epic traditional poets, Mr. Tubosun Oladapo. You know, in that work titled Ason Ninu Ason, that is vanity upon vanity. Now, what is captured in that Yoruba traditional ballad and what have you is that people are obsessed with inanities and vulgarities and vain things of this world. This is just about size. This is just about size. If you have if you are a good student of who Donald Trump is, he's always looking at things from size. You know, I do not know what that fascination is about, because size is always relative. But to want to splash $400 million on a ballroom on East Wing of White House, where people are really thinking of preserving and dreaming about conservation. The attraction about the project that you're talking about, the White House itself, it's in the fact that it's been in existence for generations, and the curiosity of Americans to see the originality, the way that building has always served various elected leaders of this great country, the United States of America. That is the essence, and the sentimental value of it is what has been tinkered with. And that is why everybody is always like, okay, why is he doing this? And when you even look at the proposition, what he really unveiled before all of us, you know, the footnotes to the different pictures and the portraits of past leaders displayed there, what he wrote under each, almost spiting, almost twisting and tinkering with facts of history, things that did not really reflect the values and achievements, genuine achievements of those past leaders. Always borrowing, turning around a phrase or a verse in Nigeria's, one of Nigeria's, because Nigeria has like several national anthems. You don't know if it is Arise Compatriot or it's Nigeria We Hail Thee. But in Arise Compatriot, where they said the labors of our heroes past shall never be in vain, this man is almost making the labors of American heroes past to be in vain and to have been rendered for naught. So this is not just this organization, this foundation coming out, gun blazing, and saying, gun blazing by way of a legal fireworks, saying, no, you cannot go beyond certain constitutional limits. You cannot go beyond certain statutory frameworks, and then putting it into check. So, well, apart from the fact that in the in the midst of hunger and squalor for a considerable number of us Americans. $400 million for what? And people did not, I mean, the cost stakeholders do not really see any reason, any logic or rationale behind what President Donald J. Trump is trying to achieve there. And it will not be a surprise to see the display on, the public display going down. You know, so initially it always sounds tough, but you put, you know, shigidi. You know what shigidi is now in Yoruba expression?
Shigidi.
Yes, it's this thing. I mean, this thing for for a child to play with, but that is made, or maybe
Right, like a doll, like wooden doll.
Yeah, but made out of clay.
Sometimes okay, clay. Carved from wood or clay.
But when it is made of clay, and then is now beginning to challenge somebody to dwell inside water or the rain, you know, it's almost like going to be the end for that kind of clay shigidi or the clay effigy. So in this situation, you put the shigidi in this kind of rain, you put it on public display, it will unravel. So it looks like Mr. President has a clay of faith. It seems like he has a clay of faith, and everything is really unraveling, and is impacting on the perception of not just him, his office, and even the Republican Party. Everybody is beginning to look at it that, oh, is this the standard? And then America has never been this, been this twisted. And that touches off too on the hidden files that everybody, including a congressional act that is saying, oh, everything has to be on display. Do not reduct other than, protecting the identity of the youths that were at some point violated by, through this, I cannot use extreme words there, but I also look at it as a satanic sex trafficking ring. But instead of protecting the victims, you see what has happened. And you see that even some of the appointees of Mr. Donald Trump themselves are the ones suffering this Trump derangement syndrome that he often touts against his critics. For example, the Attorney General appears before the Congress and was so feisty and so quarrelsome, and was saying people should think of oh my God, that people should talk less about the victims or his own big influential individual that she's been protecting. But in this case now, she wants the focus to be on the mega performance of the economy, Wall Street. Who does that? And like you have mentioned, the foray to a place like Venezuela, sending or having to sometimes, yes, people like us would want something to be done about the horrendous killings going on in Nigeria. Not just the ones being perpetrated deliberately against Christians, but the ones that are targeted at Muslims who are fellow citizens in Nigeria there, and innocent individuals. Because these evil merchants, the bandits, the terrorists, the kidnappers, they do not have any contract distinction about victims or targets. We would want this to stop, but again, sometimes you look at it that Mr. Donald Trump does some of these things in order to appeal to his base. Oh, I'm standing up against Christian genocide in Nigeria. Is it really about the interest of Nigeria? If it is about the interest of Nigerians, well and good. But if it is just about scoring a cheap political points, no, that is in itself objectionable. Now, the same focus you will see in the way Venezuela was invaded, how the president was arrested like a common felon, and how all that is playing, just diverting attention, taking attention away from the core issues concerning America. Last week, the good news that, American economy got deceleration of inflation, that inflation got brought down by about 2-point-something%, and that it has not been that great in the last 5 years. Fine. But it is not because of what Donald Trump is doing. It is in spite of what Donald Trump is doing concerning weaponizing the institutions of state against American citizens. It is in spite of the fact that he arbitrarily and by way of impossibly imposes tariff against America's trading partners and all that. In spite of all that, because of the strong underlying fundamentals, which is why it is good to develop good institutions, strong institutions instead of strong personalities. But for what Americans' heroes past have done to establish this country as a shining beacon on the hill that cannot be hidden, we would have been talking of something else now. So when everything is done to distract us, including posting a very obnoxious and annoying images of former President Barack Obama and the former First Lady, Mrs. Michelle Obama, depicting them as apes. But I like Obama's focus. It's not distracted. Like he would always say while making campaign laps, he would say, do not boo, vote. So in this case, he did not even react. He allowed the outrage to come from concerned American citizens on the way this current president has continued to do things that are unbecoming and very, very embarrassing to the office of the President of the United States of America. So when you see all these things, you appreciate the horrendous picture, the size of distractions or or diversionary tactics being employed to make sure that the real issues, which will be made known at some point to all of us, that those things, I mean, there is this desperation, this desperate struggle to make sure that those things do not become so obvious to Americans. So whether it is in the United States of America here or in Nigeria, you see one thing, prebendalism. Yes, all that is, I mean, attached to that. You see it in real time, really before our very eyes. And then you begin to look at it that, it does not matter whether it is in Africa or in the United States or the most civilized countries of the world. It's almost like the same standard, you know. And then who really can save us from this? It is the eternal vigilance of the citizens. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, join the conversation in the chat. Hit like, share, subscribe, and follow, and turn up your notifications so you're notified. We have some other trendy stories around the world, and we will be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Another one bites the dust. Plateau's Governor Caleb Mufwang officially dumps the PDP, leaving the North Central entirely blue. The People's Democratic Party PDP has suffered its most devastating blow of 2026 Well, we just started 2026. As Plateau State Governor Caleb Mufwang officially defected to the APC, announced by APC National Chairman Nentawe Yilwat. This move means the entire North Central region is now under the control of the ruling party. Mufwang joins a growing list of PDP governors, including those from Rivers, Enugu, and Taraba, who have abandoned the opposition in the last year. Critics are calling it the end of the PDP, while supporters say it's the only way to bring federal government to the plateau. So we're watching the opposition evaporate before our eyes. I think we'll be watching that. I don't know. I have my sights for political Nigeria is a little bit limited, but it looks like that's what I've been seeing for a good 2-3 years. So is this a situation where the APC is building a one-party state? We've asked that question a couple of times in the last couple of months for the same reason. Or is this our PDP simply, can we just call it a sinking boat? The floor is yours, sir.
Whatever, I mean, all the scenarios you have painted relative to people jumping parties, and it doesn't happen elsewhere. Like it's so emblematic of politics in Nigeria now. And I mentioned the use of prebendalism concerning the United States, especially some of the unthinkable things, some of the journeys, the roller coaster, whatever we have been taken on by the leadership in our country, United States of America here. Same thing for the land of, our native land, Nigeria. Politicians everywhere are same. And if you start for a class in what's it called? Philosophy 101, maybe Introduction to Logic, they will tell you politicians are liars. And then somebody says, oh, Obafemi Awolowo was a politician. But a considerable size of the people in Nigeria believe that that man was honest. Would that be, would it not be fallacious to not think that all politicians are liars, with few exceptions? It's almost like that. Because how do you justify, how do you explain the fact that people chose or made a preference concerning a political platform, campaigned and won elections into office on such platforms just because the voting public felt they were, that platform was better in comparison to the other. And then at the end of the day, somehow, without consulting with the electorate, people just jump ship. they jump ship and then go the way of the party that was rejected. Because in Nigeria, as far as I know, there is no independent candidacy. People, in fact, there are court rulings in Nigeria saying that political parties usually are the entities that are usually voted for, not individuals. And so now, with all the spoils of the electoral victory being submitted at the feet of whoever is the president at the moment, isn't it obvious that the spoil belongs to the winner just because people have no long-staying power? They do not have long-staying power. So the point I'm making here is that the governor of Plateau State is not even, the whole thing has even gone beyond that last count of the governor of Plateau State. Earlier today, the governor of Adamawa State, Fintiri, also jumped both, left PDP and decamped into APC. So you are asking the question that may not be too clear, because Nigeria is supposed to be a multi-party state. So does this make Nigeria a one-party place? Well, I think Nigerians are smarter than anybody would want to admit most times. But let me even say that a lot of people whether international watchers of events in Nigeria or people inside Nigeria, they know that Nigeria is not a place where Mumuism, Mumuism, that is sheepishness, can be a winning card. No, Nigerians are smarter. Yes, politicians, governors may be decamping, but are the people really moving that way? It's just unfortunate that with the event that have just been exposed, people like El-Rufai trafficking in wrong information and outright lies at times, and then people like excuse me, people like El-Rufai trying to manipulate. Manipulate.
It's okay.
Yeah, trying to manipulate the system. There are individuals like that, and or somebody like I'm trying to remember the name of this guy now, who came on the podium to say that, oh, they are going to make people to pay certain percentage in terms of taxes on spare parts and what have you. Politicians, if the opposition party, the emerging opposition parties, I'm already thinking beyond PDP, because in most, if you look at the reports that came from our own team in Nigeria, people in most places, villages, different precincts, wards, constituencies, local government, state, what have you, already in most places, the structure of PDP has collapsed into ADC. Just get that. So,
already, yes.
Yes, so there is that transmogrification of, it's a kind of metamorphosis now.
A metamorphosis, the same way APC was created.
Yes, but this one is more organic than that, because everybody identified the fact that people like Nyesom Wike were planted or made themselves available as useful tools, like Judas Iscariot, all over the place, to make sure that they destroy the structure of a People's Democratic Party of Nigeria. So, looking beyond what has been, what people like the infamy that had been committed and had been perpetuated with willing tools, willing cannon fodders like Nyesom Wike and Ayodele Peter Fayose, former governor of Ekiti State. People are looking beyond such renegade elements that were planted to destroy PDP. But if you destroy PDP, how many political parties are you going to destroy? The pain in all this is that even the people who are so-called experienced politicians, they are not looking beyond the game. I'm really thinking that at this moment, people like Atiku Abubakar should be organizing around political parties like that one being led by Omoyele Sowore, and allowing, allowing a new generation to come on.
You mean like AAC?
Yes, AAC. That kind of structure, that kind of political party, and an individual like Omoyele Sowore that can call the bluff of a president like Bola Ahmed Tinubu, make the place totally ungovernable for him by making sure that every vote is logged, every avenue of rigging is, is blocked. So these are the things I am looking at. But to continue to think that Nigeria will become a one-party state, I think when we think that way, we do not give enough credit to the irrepressible spirit, the indomitable spirit that operates inside the average Nigerian citizen. And so already things are beginning to take shape. It's just because the lying politicians like Nasir El-Rufai and others would destroy the opportunity for the opposition to be able to stand their ground and give the ruling party a run for their for its money and its manipulations and machinations. Now, beyond the fact that everybody is thinking that it's a fait accompli. INEC is already being pocketed by the ruling party, and the whole process is rigged by way of transmission of electronic transmission of results from collection centers and all that. Yes, but the tone that is already coming out of Nigerian opposition, when you begin to hear disturbing reference like rig and die, rig and die, rig and die, that tells you that the whole thing may, unless properly managed, the whole thing may get out of hand. And we have witnessed situations in which people had to be killed. Had to be killed in Nigeria just because of election rigging, not even waiting for the litigations that will arise after the old disputed processes. So what we must appeal to now is the sense of reasoning of Nigerians that they should remember the golden words of former President Goodluck Jonathan, who said his ambition, his political ambition, did not really, was not worth the blood of any Nigerian unless the process is properly managed. This situation in which politicians and opinion leaders across Nigeria and influencers are jumping ship here and there could lead to an untoward end result. And God forbid that. So we must put our minds to work and understand that the process has to be properly guarded. Again, make sure that every vote counts and that everybody becomes relevant in the process. To want to shortchange the process is to destroy the entire democracy project in Nigeria. And that is why you continue to find that in droves, people are really they are not encouraged to come out to vote. Most times you find less than 30% of Nigerian registered voters voting. That cannot be a true democracy. So let us perish the thought that Nigeria will become a one-party state. But to make sure that that does not happen, all opposition parties in Nigeria must now begin to look at the script that was dropped on them, on all of us during the 2014-2015 presidential elections. And I think such idea may not be too bad. There must be realignment. There must be movement and shifts here and there. God help Nigeria.
May God help Nigeria indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, join the conversation. Hit like, share, subscribe, and follow. Turn up your notifications. We will have some other conversation we want to have, so stick around. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. So today we talked about Fubara. We talked about the Donald Trump's $400 million project. We talked about the sinking boat. We just finished talking about that. But around the world, there's some other trendy stories. I'm going to hint them at you that I know you have some special for us. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let me say that properly before my uncle catches me. Without further ado, High Chief Oladimeji Abitogun, publisher, editor-in-chief, and High Chief from the great Ayede Ogbese. Welcome back, sir. So,
Good to be back.
So we have We have the Natasha is trending in the last 4 hours because she's still protesting. She's saying she doesn't want to be treated like a second-class citizen. I'm not sure how far that message is going to go. But also, El Rufai is actually trending for today's his 66th birthday. I don't know if you knew that. El Rufai is also trending for that reason. But go ahead, take it away, sir.
Yeah, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan was not just a crying wolf. I think there was supposed to be some committee sitting concerning the North Central Development. I don't know if they call it NCDC, Development Commission. You know, they have these development commissions for the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria, which started originally with the Niger Delta Development Commission. So the North Central has its own. So I think there was supposed to be a meeting earlier in the day, but I think maybe by commission or omission, that the notice for that meeting was not served on Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. And so I think, we have our personal ways of handling situations, different, what you would call them, individual ways of handling things. I think what they are flagging on the fact that she said, how dare whoever called that meeting without letting her know. So I hope they are able to sort themselves out. You know, we cannot die in their words.
Yes, so we have no idea.
Yes, well, she is passionate about the quality of representation she gives to her people, particularly people of Kogi Central Senatorial District. And
yes,
somehow.
Sorry, are you speaking to the? They said there's some exclusion from the North Central Development Commission, NCDC.
That is what I've just explained to you.
Okay.
Yeah, that is what I've just explained. So I hope they will sort it out, because to always want to make it look like Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan is being targeted. It's not too good for the image of the Nigeria's National Assembly, particularly the Senate, because how many women do we have in that Senate? Maybe 3 or 4, and then overwhelmingly dominated by men already. But our people saw certain qualities in her, which was why they gave her the mandate to be their unqualified representative, their senator in the National Assembly. Could she be given a fair, she should be treated fairly. That is what I would say. Then you mentioned the fact that Nasir El-Rufai turned 66 today. Well, good luck and congratulations to him. No doubt, he has served Nigeria in some capacity. Right from, I knew him when he was the man in charge of the Bureau for Public Enterprise in Abuja. And I think he gave his best. He was brought into power by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. But at some point, serially, he's been identified as somebody that is always dishing people. He has no loyalty to anybody, and could just flip on whoever thinks, oh. So it's somebody people cannot really count on. But this thing that disturbs me is the fact that he finds it so easy to come up with out of place, fantastic lies. They look at it as element of politics. In Yoruba, they'll say, Onyibo Oshelu. I often heard that from my big brother, your uncle, Oladimeji Abitogun. Onyibo Oshelu, firing political shots, artillery at somebody. Nasir El-Rufai is really skilled in that. It comes out with some out of place tales, and then the whole politics becomes so heated. And that is how it's always made this impact. People, he's continued in that game for a very long time. So people who find it so convenient to work with him, to engage him, to weaponize him in that kind of role, are the people that are already out today calling him all sorts of names. But when he was using those lies to back them up, to prop them up, so much so that now they have become arbitrars on our neck as people of a Nigerian descent. We should continue to manage him, but I have always viewed him as a very dangerous individual and a kind of undesirable political element. Why do I say this? He was the person that, by training, is an architect. He was the person that came up with the idea of Muslim ticket originally. And after they got what they wanted, he was the one who organized a forum of Islamic clerics to taunt everybody that who do Christians call themselves in Nigeria. And all the things, the table has turned against him. That was why he could not meet the threshold when he was screened by the Senate in Nigeria to become a minister. And since then, he has drawn a battle line between the ruling government and himself. He was the one who at some point alleged that, Nigerian government had a policy in place to be paying money to bandits, repentant bandits, or to be negotiating with kidnappers and what have you, and terrorists. It was too that came out last week, or in certain leaked memos, to say that Nigeria had imported about 10 kilograms of valium sulfate, and that whatever it had to be used for. Even after the NSA's office had clarified to him that they were not, they did not import anything like that, and that probably should come forward to shed more light on it. He doubled down by alleging that that they have been wiretapping the National Security Advisor in Nigeria, which has now become his Waterloo. I don't want to draw conclusions because he may have his facts. We cannot say that it's this or that because we don't like his face. But one thing I've always known about Nasir El-Rufai is that he's dogged, he's determined, he is a goal-getter. The only problem I have with him is that he does not look like a Nigerian leader that likes the faces of the poor. He doesn't seem to like the poor. If as diminutive as he is, I am a short man, but I'm not a short man devil. Yes, Nasir El-Rufai at 66 could try to grow some height by making sure that he loves every face, everybody that is made of God. For how long is he going to continue to be an irredentist Islamist and then polarizer and if they are drawing the list of so-called, what do you call it, sponsors of terrorism in Nigeria, I think it should make that list. But for some reason, they are focusing on Kwakonso, too bad. Finally.
Finally. Okay. Let's engage. Let's engage. Shout out to Okpe in the chat. Okpe 73. He says no way. Okpe 73 says she was trying to. I think he's speaking to the Natasha stuff. She was trying to humiliate a Kogi minister just to make political shots, not to actually ask questions. Not everything is politics. What do you have to say about that?
That is why I said we won't die in their war. Okpe may be right. Okay.
All right. Good. All right, continue. You had one last point to make. We got 1 minute. Go ahead, sir.
Yes. If we have spoken about events all over the world, let's come back.
Okay.
I need to really celebrate a mother in the house today. Yes, a matriarch of the Abitogun family dynasty, and that is in person of my non-biological mother. Because if I say my mom, in Yoruba land, every woman in the house is your mother. Every woman married to your family becomes your mother. But in this case, let me conceptualize it. Yes, my non-biological mother, but my mother. and that is accomplished teacher, educator, retired school principal, first grade. I mean, if somebody was the principal of St. Louis Girls Grammar School in Owo, the former principal of St. Catherine, Owo, and so on and so forth. Historian and unequaled intellectual. That is Mommy Rhoda Ropo Abitogun ní Oníkanni, from the famous Oníkanni family of Efonalaye, and the other handle from Idoani, Iyayu, and of course a fine product from Ayede Ogbese herself. And whether you are talking of Usho, she's relevant. So in those states, in the United States of America, we celebrate her today for turning 72 years old. Long may she live and continue to enjoy the bliss of retirement, and she will continue to age with grace. We want to thank her for the impact she has made on the lives of so many of us, not just in the family. Several people that passed through her as students, as mentees. So that is the special shout out. Happy birthday, Mom. God bless.
Okay, and you're supposed to finish that way.
Yes.
Hold on, my Banike. How do you steal mummies? I don't understand. How do you people steal mummies?
Let me also point out the fact that she's your biological mother. And biological mother is your younger brother, Olusola Abitogun. So,
wow.
Yeah, we'll continue the celebration after the show.
Well, no, not so easy. Shout out to my mother. She's the best mommy that anybody can ask for. But we're not just going to assume that she knows. We need to continue to let her know that she's loved. She's special to a lot of people. So, but we're generous enough. Me and my brother were generous enough to share her with the world. But we will not allow anybody to just give long speeches only to finish the speech and not mention that. Okay?
That's right.
All right. Thank you very much. But yes, we're still celebrating her today. Yeah. Thank you so much for celebrating my mother. Thank you.
God bless.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's another show in the bag. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified whenever we go live. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please help us share. That is it. Today I'm a little clumsy because we took off a week, but we'll be fine. Okay, but just help us. The more you support us, the more we're encouraged to keep coming back. Thank you so much. Take care and God bless.